So I've noticed that a lot of people are having trouble like getting over the things that happened to them in the past. Like not to say that you need to get over it emotionally, but something about like people having this like urgency in regards to needing the karma or like the justice to play out in regards to like some way that you perceive yourself to have been wronged. And I would say that like please just like feel validated in like what happened to you, okay? Like you don't feel like you need the outside world to validate it for you. And I'm not going to like I don't know. I'm just gonna like that's why people go to like spell work and stuff or like candle work, and I'm not gonna get into it, but like people praying to, like whatever, and like whatever, like that's still, you're still like petitioning a deity, like an energy, right? So I'm just like sometimes, you know, if you so like are a skeptic and you don't really believe in that stuff, I'm not here to convince you that it's real, but I'm just saying that like it helps if you just like ask for justice from like divine energies, and some divine energies will be ambivalent to your plight. Yes, okay? Because, you kind of just need to figure out and call upon the ones that like actually give a shit about you and like your highest and greatest good or whatever. Always make sure that like that's your intention, is like, you know you just want things that are in alignment with like the highest and greatest good or whatever, and that's not violating anyone's free will, okay? But if you call for justice and stuff like that, you have to understand that you also will experience justice for things that you've done wrong, which is fine, you know what I mean? Like it's good for you to just get those lessons out of the way, you know what I mean? But like you have to understand that like as you are going through your stuff, those people that if they genuinely wronged you, they are going to get their just desserts as well. Like if you have to think about like the news cycle or whatever, and like 50 Cent is like going on the news and stuff like that, and how he accumulated all this evidence or whatever, um and he waited a long time. He was patient, right? So I think that like a lot of the collective, or like not a lot, but I just see it a lot. I feel it in the energy, especially like in some of the comments where people like, and it's not your guys' like fault or anything, but sometimes you guys are like kind of like, I don't know, sometimes there's like a chip on the shoulder because you're like, well, and I've been there. Like I was, you know very pessimistic and very like sort of like jaded at a certain point, and like overly defensive and stuff like that. um you have to just focus on what you can control and literally like release the things that are not happening in this moment. But like the more you do have enough control over your own like consciousness and your own thoughts to like peel yourself away and like force yourself to focus on something else. And it takes a lot of practice, like anything else, it's a muscle or whatever. But even with like, and I'm only saying this like from my perspective, so like obviously I don't know you or your experience, but like uh even like having like CPTSD diagnosis and like not being medicated or whatever, it's still possible. Like the shit that I went through was like pretty severe or whatever, and I still was able to like mentally pull myself out of it. It took a while, it wasn't easy, it wasn't comfortable, it was painful, and energetically sometimes it literally feels like hot needles on the back of your neck as you kind of like release stuff or feel the things that you've been repressing. It feels really, it sucks, it really is, it sucks ass. But like you have to keep telling yourself in those moments that you just need to feel it to release it, and then you will feel better afterwards. It may, it comes in waves, like the releasing and stuff like that, and it can feel relentless, but eventually it does dissipate and things do lighten up and they do get better. But you have to understand that like if you never switch your mindset to a place of like even being open to releasing the things that happened to you or the things that people did to you or whatever, with or without getting justice, you're never gonna feel better. You know what I mean? You kind of just have to like be okay with like you have to pull that energy away from like hyper fixating on those other people getting what they deserve, and like focus on allowing yourself to get what you deserve, in a sense that's like detached from those people. Like if you are putting your whole life's like happiness and success all upon like your enemies getting what they deserve, you're not like, because then what, you know what I mean? Especially if it's something like, oh, you're waiting for like a settlement, and maybe the settlement is like $15,000. It's like a big settlement, but that settlement isn't gonna like change your lot, like, you know what I mean? That's not going to fix your mentality about things. That's not going to make you more positive long term. That's not going to help you handle like the difficulties that just like arise as a result of like being a human or whatever. So you kind of need to heal internally regardless, and you have to be okay, like you have to find a way to just like be at peace, like no matter what happens. And I know that that takes a lot of work and it's really hard, but if you're not even like open to it, then it's impossible, you know what I mean? You have to at least try every day, you know. And I found that like when you're at your lowest, like the worst, sometimes it's enough to just like, regardless of like what people are projecting outside of you, to like focus on listening to music that does not have lyrics in it that are like reminding you of like a sad mood. Like I understand that it's nice to listen to stuff that like validates your feelings or that you can like sit in those feelings, but long term that's not beneficial. It's not happy if like all the music you listen to is like angsty or makes you cry or makes you angry again, or like, you know, you know what I mean? That's all, you know what I mean? Like you need to listen to stuff that you need to listen to, like reggaeton. You need to listen to like you know, like Bad Bunny and stuff like that, right? Not shit that's like making you cry in your room or reminding you about your ex or reminding you that people wronged you. You need to listen to stuff that's like F those people, and you're not like going out sad about any of that shit, because at the end of the day, you have to get into the mindset of like, if that path didn't work for you, you got to pick a different path. There's an infinite number of paths. Limitations are like an illusion or whatever. The only prison really is in your mind. Um, you know, as long as you're not doing anything terrible. That I was like, I mean, not everybody who gets put in prison does something necessarily terrible, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Hopefully, whatever. I'm just trying to say that, like, those people, regardless if they do get, you know, whatever, karma or justice in some way, they've still won, because you're allowing them to occupy so much space in your mind that it is like consuming you. And you have to like sit there and be like, okay, instead of focusing on this, I could focus on things that actually make me happy. And if you've forgotten what makes you happy, then again, you have to start at the basics of like, okay, go start picking up a routine of like self-care again, like all of the basics, then like pick up the basics, because it all stems from like self-love. And if you start to like, the what I did when I was still at a place of like I hated my, like, you know, like to be honest, like, you know, internally the mental chatter was like self-hatred core or whatever, but like you have to view yourself, or what I did, I like viewed myself as like the little version of me. Like I have pictures of me when I was like 3 years old, you know. And then you just have to start to view yourself as that person, as that, you have to view yourself as the baby version of you. And then you have to take care of yourself as if you, because you just have to take care of yourself, you know, and like while viewing yourself as like your innocent baby self, you know what I mean? And so like, if that makes sense, and that helps with like releasing that self-hatred, because you're really going to sit there and hate a cute little kid, like why, you know what I mean? So that's when I was at my worst, that helped me come out of it, was just that like you need to feel remorse for your like baby self, and then you need to act accordingly and like treat yourself the way that you know you deserve to be nurtured at the time or whatever. um I would say that like regardless of if those people get, you know, karma or justice in this lifetime or the next or whatever, you you know, they will have lost regardless, if you are able to heal yourself. um you know what I mean? And they no longer occupy space in your mind, right?